Good morning. Today we're going to start the new book. It is the volume 3 and it is called God's New Nation. And we'll be starting with the Pharaoh and the King of Egypt. Here's this picture. Looks like there's some slaves working for him, doesn't it? Let's find out about him. So Pharaoh makes slaves of the Hebrews. "Get the royal boat ready," said Pharaoh, king of Egypt. "I want to sail on the Nile River." Pharaoh's servants hurried to obey. Soon the royal boat was ready for Pharaoh. Pharaoh was a new king over Egypt. He liked to sail on the Nile so he could see more of his country. Did you know the Nile River is, I'm trying to think, I think it's only one of 2 rivers that flows north? It's kind of interesting. Who are all those people over there?" he asked as they sailed past a town. Pharaoh was kind of worried as he looked over the land of Egypt. There were just too many Hebrews. "Those are Hebrews," said an officer. "Hebrews?" said Pharaoh. "For almost 400 years they've been here in Egypt, living on the land the Egyptian people should have." The royal boat sailed on and on. It passed another town near the Nile. "And who are those people?" Pharaoh asked. "Those are also Hebrews," said the officer. Pharaoh began to frown. "Look at them. There must be thousands of them in that one town. I didn't know there were so many Hebrews in Egypt. Every time I go sailing, I see more Hebrews." Pharaoh looked worried all the way home, and when he reached his palace, he sat for a long time, thinking about the Hebrews. At last, he had a plan. "Send messengers all over Egypt," he told some of his officers. "Tell them to find out how many Hebrews there are in the country and find out how strong they are." The officers hurried from the palace. Soon the messengers were riding all over Egypt asking about the Hebrews. After many days, the messengers came back. "There are as many Hebrews in Egypt as there are Egyptians," they said, "but the Hebrew people are stronger. They work hard in the fields with their flocks." Pharaoh thought for a minute. "I was afraid of that," he said. "Since the Hebrews have more children than we do, there will also be more Hebrews than Egyptians, and then the Hebrews may take sides with an enemy and fight against us." "Oh, we can't let them do that to us," said the Pharaoh's officers. "No, we can't," said Pharaoh. "We must do something about it. I will think of a way to keep them from being so strong." Everywhere Pharaoh went, he thought about the Hebrews. That same day, he went to look at a building that was being built. "Why aren't you getting this built any faster?" said Pharaoh. The men in charge of the building were afraid. They knew that Pharaoh might kill them if they didn't build the building faster. "Well, we don't have enough people working on it," they said. "We need many more workers. But people don't want to do this kind of work." Pharaoh smiled. He knew now what to do with the Hebrews. So Pharaoh called his officers to him. "We need workers for the buildings. From now on, all the Hebrews will be slaves. See that they start working right away." The officers called their soldiers. Soon soldiers were going through all the Hebrew villages. "From now on, you will work for Pharaoh as slaves," they said. "Anyone who does not will have his wife and children killed." Here's Pharaoh just soaking in thought of how to get rid of the Hebrews. "Slaves," said some Hebrews. "Doesn't Pharaoh remember what Joseph did for Egypt?" "That was 400 years ago," some others said. "Pharaoh knows about Egypt, but about Joseph, but he doesn't care." "What can we do?" asked some Hebrews. "Nothing," said others. "If we don't work for Pharaoh, he will kill our wives and our children. Then he'll kill us." So the Hebrews became slaves. They worked from morning until night. They made bricks for Pharaoh's builders. They helped put the bricks together to make the buildings for Pharaoh. They worked and worked in the hot sun for Pharaoh, but Pharaoh did not pay them for this work. He let them have their food and clothing. He let them live in their houses. But that was all they could have. The children of Joseph had become slaves to the people Joseph had saved from starvation. So I'm going to write some questions down below this video. I hope you can talk over them with your parents. Have a great day.